Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of It's Canon. We're your hosts. I'm Kaitlynd.
I'm B.
I'm T.
And I'm June. We don't make the rules, just the commentary. It's a canon event, and we can't interfere.
Period.
Clock it.
So, friends, today we are discussing Brimstone by Callie Hart. Because this book is book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series, there will be spoilers. We highly recommend that you read Quicksilver, which is book 1, and then Brimstone before listening to this episode of It's Canon. This book is considered a dark romantasy, and our discussions may explore darker themes not suitable for all ears, but I will leave it to be when we get to our spoiler warning. Before we hop into the episode, I do want to talk a little bit about why we are covering Brimstone right now. So the four of us, we all started reading Brimstone at the same time. This was a planned event, right?
Yes, very much so.
100%.
We
like
all
months in
planned-
advance.
Yeah,
months.
like immediately after Quicksilver.
Literally.
We to the point where we were trying to figure out how the four of us, because we don't live in the same state, how the four of us could get together to go to a midnight release and binge read this book together. It did not happen, but we did get to read it, and we were yapping about it in the group chat. So that's why we're going to be discussing it now, because we have a lot of thoughts. As you saw from last episode, if you haven't listened to last episode, you definitely need to, because June came in with the theories. She had a lot of great theories, and it sparked a lot of discussion. I did get emotional, and for that, I make no apologies. I'm a sensitive girl. We wanted to give this book all of its flowers. We have a lot to discuss. I can't wait to see our thoughts and our reactions to this one, because book 2 in a series, specifically with fantasy, they're notorious for being, I don't know, not the most well-received, but I'm very excited to hear more, especially just banking off of June's theories and some of the other thoughts that sparked. So we cannot wait to dive into today's episode. Now, B, take it away with spoiler warnings.
There are spoilers ahead for Brimstone, which is book 2 of the Fae and Alchemy series. If you haven't touched Quicksilver, which is book 1, you're missing out. And if you haven't finished book 2, favorite this episode, go catch up and then come back to join us, because this portion is for the readers who've already survived the book, or for those who don't mind having their heart spoiled. This book is considered a dark romantasy, and our discussions may explore themes not suitable for all ears. Discretion is highly advised. Proceed accordingly. Again, if you haven't read Brimstone by the Callie Hart, this is your spoiler warning. We're talking all things plot twist, unhinged moments, and everything in between. You've been warned.
You've been warned.
Oh.
Wait, you didn't say like a good girl this time. Wait.
That's at the end of the episode.
I know. Stop.
That's at the
Not-
end.
Not me being conditioned to hear that from you. Y'all, I love it so much. Okay. So we are going to move on to our first impressions. I definitely want to hear from the girls, from you guys. What were your first impressions of this book? Because I unfortunately did have the displeasure of finishing it before everyone else did. And I had to hold everything in, and it was a ticking time bomb until you all finished. So I definitely want to hear about your first impressions.
So going into this book after reading Quicksilver, I was so excited because, I had a little bit of high expectations for this book. It was a bit slow start for me. I feel like there was a lot in the first book that in the second book that wasn't discussed. It's a lot of fillers for me. And then the Kingfisher and Carrion going into Zavarian, I feel like I kind of forgot their mission.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a really good book. I like some parts where they're significant, like feeders and the rod. Okay, what is this rod? And then the rod was gone. Okay, come back to the story of the rod. What's going on with that? And then some of them sprinkle romance. What? Look, get back to the story. I need to figure out this part. Again, it was good, but that was my impression.
No, I love that. B?
Unlike T, I kind of already had an expectation because this is the second book, right? So, and the first book, I didn't read the synopsis. The second book, I went in reading the synopsis, so I kind of already knew that it was going to follow Carrion and Fisher and their journey in Sylvar. And I don't want to say that it was slow paced, but I do feel like, much like what T said, it did feel like there were a lot of fillers and things that I don't want to deem as unnecessary, but maybe they do have a purpose later on down the line. I do like that it was full of new characters. Like we meet Foley, we meet a lot of the people from the Blood Court. So I did like that we met a bunch of new people. It felt like it was setting the stage for obviously book 3, but I felt like there was a lot of stage setting and I needed more drama. I needed way more than what I got. There was a lot of things that I didn't expect. There's so much that I'm really trying hard not to unveil too much because we have so much of an episode left to go. If I had to choose one word for my first impression, it was enjoyable. I liked it. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I love that. June, what did you think about this book? Let us know.
If I had to choose 2 words, one word would be entertained and the other word would be confused. Because I'm not gonna lie, it was so long between when I read the first book, but I was so confident that I remembered everything that was going on. And then Kaitlynd had sent that summary TikTok in the group chat. And I watched the whole thing. I said, yep, I know who everybody is. I know exactly what's happening. I went into the book. They said Amontreus. I said, where is Amontreus? They said Sanzaroth. I said, I don't know what that is. They said Ishabal. I said, I don't know who that is. Like, I was reading the whole book. I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now, but I'm here for it. And I was thoroughly entertained. That being said, I will also lean more on the confusion because I do agree with T. I feel like the storytelling, again, love Callie Hart down bad, but I feel like the storytelling was a little bit more scattered in this book where I didn't really know. I feel like there was no continuous story throughout the whole thing. And I feel like parts of the book were a little bit rushed where I would have liked it to be drawn out and like gone more in depth about. But again, I was thoroughly entertained and confused.
Yeah.
But I had a good time.
Yeah. At least that was a consistent feeling for you.
That's actually amazing. Your 2 keywords. I can't think of keywords off the top of my head, so I'll just go into my reaction. But I wish I could. Honestly, like I wish I could. I was the type of person where like we'd go around and be like, come up with a word that starts with the first letter of your name. And I'm like,
kind.
Tomato.
What?
Tomato.
That is the difference between a Gemini and a Leo. I did enjoy the book. I feel like this was one of the few second book in a series when it comes to fantasy that I actually enjoyed. There are some other books, like we won't talk about them. Today's focus is Brimstone, that were rather slow or confusing or just did not meet the mark for me. For me, Brimstone kind of did meet the mark. I don't know if it's because I was just anticipating book 2. I was so hyped about it. But I felt like there was just a lot. And I think I started to make connections. And it also helped me look forward to other fantasy books that I'm anxious to start reading. And I texted y'all about that. I'm like, did you connect those dots? Is that something we can expect from another series that we're looking for? But I really did like it. I enjoyed it. I feel like the high points of the book really is what made it super high for me. This was the first time I didn't take into account some of the lower parts because they didn't feel too low. To me, they felt necessary to the plot. And yeah, we've looked through like what everyone's saying on Book Talk and responding to things, and everyone has mixed feelings about book 2. But for me personally, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that for me is a win because I don't know. I do consider myself a little bit hard to please, but I did like it. There were aspects that I didn't necessarily enjoy that I wish I was like, honestly, I was a little bit more frustrated by. I wish we would have expounded upon or lengthened out a couple of things, but the high points are what really made this book it for me. Like, reaction wise, I liked it. Like, I got emotional towards, well, throughout the book, but more specifically
Sure.
towards the ending. Like, that big reveal that we get, the plot, like, I wouldn't call it a plot twist, but a plot reveal. I got so, I don't know, I started tearing up, and I was just like, wow, this is,
Really?
yes, I was like, this is
I did
actually
not
so
cry.
big for,
I was mad.
I can't. We'll talk about it.
and that is a Scorpio versus a Leo. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, like, I don't know. I liked the reveals. I did tear up. And for me, I do have a very emotional response to any like heightened, like if other people, I guess that's me being an empath, but like if other people within the story are feeling heightened emotions, I start feeling those heightened emotions. And it just started getting like towards the end, I was definitely feeling like for Saeris because she was going through it. She had a lot of things that she was blindsided by, but at the end of the day, there were a lot of revelations, and just seeing it from her POV and my POV, I was getting emotional, and I just was like, I ended it and I was like, I think I sent a voice message to you, June. June, what comeback do you have to say?
Did I feel bad for Saeris? No. I was mad at Saeris too, because I feel like Saeris was not following instructions. And she was given very clear things that she needed to do at certain points in time. And she was just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And so that made me mad. So I did not.
What do you mean? When was she not following? But like, specifically, what part are you talking about?
At the end, right? Fisher specifically said, keep your mouth shut.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
Said, I'm going to say what I want to say.
But she watched Fisher. So Fisher was like, Saeris, don't say nothing. But Fisher could do whatever he want to do.
Exactly. And we talked about that episode 1.
Yes, that's right, you did. What you got on your mind, June?
I just feel like if that man tells you to shut up and you don't know what's going on, if you don't know what's going on and you're in his realm, like she didn't even know that was his realm at that time, but he knew about it. She knows nothing about it. If you get there, you see this giant dragon. Fisher is not phased in the slightest, and he tells you not to talk. Shut up! Don't talk. I just feel that's my thought process. So I did not feel sorry for her. I was just mad because I'm just like, why were you talking in the first
understand
place?
you.
Yeah,
I partially get you, because if your mate is telling you, hey, like, trust me, I got this, shut up, you probably should shut up. So I understand. I'll take it. All right, I'll let you have that one.
But then the second that man starts speaking out of turn, when he said, like, I'm going to have an issue. Like, yes, he told her, don't talk, don't do anything. And she also in her mind, or I can't remember if this was verbally said or more of an internal monologue, but she was like, I hope he doesn't ruin this by speaking out of turn and being rude. And then he goes and he's being rude and all that stuff. And it's like, you told me not to act up, but then you're acting up. Therefore, I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, if you're going to tell me to act a certain way and then you go against what you told me to act, like, I'm going to have an issue. And I will start speaking and I will start doing stuff. But then we did talk about it last episode 1. She was told by other people, speak up. You can have a voice. The dragon was like, no, I want to hear her talk. And then it like kept going. So it's like, yes, respect your mate, but also you are your own person. I don't know. It's like, ugh. But go ahead, June.
I would like to say that I agree with you first and foremost. You are your own person, absolutely. And I do think it is important how it is said. So again, if my man said, June, shut the F up, like, we're fighting because why are you talking to me crazy? But I feel like Fisher said it respectfully. And I feel like in the grand scheme of things, you told me not to talk. I'm not going to talk. But then when Fisher got up there and Fisher was running his mouth, I liked that. I thought it was hot. I was just like, what? Like, you go. I love me a confident man. And so he's saying here, he's mouthing off. He's talking to those people crazy. I'm just like, my man's got this. Like, I would
Make no mistake. I think we all found it attractive. Maybe I'm speaking for everyone, but I don't know if we all felt that way. I did, so I agree. But I think also from Saeris' point of view, it's like he told you not to say anything. You're watching him do the opposite of what he told me not to do. So now I'm scared. Because I'm like, are they going to hurt you? So now I feel like I got to speak up. Because, like, what you're not about to do is hurt my man.
So that, for me, it's like this. So your man speaking like, yeah, you talking his stuff, whatever, and you like, yeah, what he said. That's what's given for me.
I'm not saying anything.
Next to your man, like, hey, yeah, you heard what he said. Shut up. But you just said to him, I'm just repeating what you just said. You know, something like that. It'll have his back.
Yeah, that would be like, yeah, what you said.
Exactly.
Silently.
That's what I felt like. I felt like impulsively I would speak because my mind be like, yeah, you know, that's just me. You tell me shut up, and I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm gonna talk what I want.
It's how you say it.
That's how you say it.
You better not saying me shut up.
Exactly. If he had said that, we would be having a completely different conversation.
That's essentially what he said, though. He
No.
was like,
No.
What he say? Let's look in the book.
I know, please. Come with the references.
In so many words, he said, shut up.
He said, do not open your mouth.
And
for
that
this
equates
section.
to shut up. And Kaitlynd is right.
Yeah, well, in my mind, she was under the impression they're both not going to say anything during this sequence of actions. And then he started, because she had that forethought to like internally in her monologue say, I thought we weren't supposed to talk, but here he is like saying what he wants to say and doing what he's going to do. You found it?
I come to you hat in hand.
Exactly.
Read it.
Shut up.
It wasn't exactly shut up, but it was also not necessarily said in the nicest way. He said, don't speak. When you wake up, for the love of all the gods, do not say a single word. So,
yes.
And
I want
the heck.
And I want you to find when she wakes up. I want you to see like her internal monologue when she's in the basically gallows, hung upside down, and she has this, in my mind, from my recollection, she has this thought process where she's like, I thought I wasn't supposed to speak, therefore, like, essentially he wasn't going to speak, but here he is doing what Kingfisher is always going to do in a dangerous setting. Mind you, she doesn't know that he knows who he's talking to. That's another thing. None of us actually know who he's talking to. Spoiler alert. We already told y'all there will be spoilers in this.
One of the people he was talking to said there's a scent on her that I dislike. And Kingfisher said it's called soap. Maybe you ought to try it. And then Saeris said Kaitlynd had warned me not to say anything. And then he came out with that.
See, okay.
Okay.
I maintain feeling for Saeris. I maintain being told one thing and then watching the person who told you that one thing, because innately you're going to be under the impression that the two of y'all are together. You're soul bound. You're God bound, right? So you're thinking, my mate is telling me not to do this because we're both in this together. Then you wake up and your mate's acting a fool. Crazy.
I just want to say that I agree with you, because I feel as if Saeris is basically saying this was not a part of the plan. This was not, you told me to be quiet, and like you said, in my head, we're both going to be silent because we don't know where we are. We don't know what's about to happen, so we don't want to jeopardize anything. And then you start acting a plumb fool. Now I'm looking at you like you're deviating from the plan, right? I agree 100%. Like, you're straying away from the plan.
100%. And it just leads us back to that conversation on betrayal. But June, you're humming like you have something to say, so we definitely want to hear from you.
I just feel like I agree, right? I agree with what you're saying with the confusion back and forth. And after reading it, I understand. That being said, I do feel like there is an understanding that, like, even if I am confused or I am mad at what you said, X, Y, and Z, if he wants to get up there talking crazy however he wants to talk, I'm not going to say anything at the time. But then after we get out of this situation, then I would cuss him out, because I'm just like, first you were talking to me crazy before we got passed out. And then on top of that, you were talking to that man crazy, and I feel like that made me look crazy. But I wouldn't say that, cause I got to keep it. We are like this. We're a solid front. So I can't make it look like I don't know what he's doing, or I disagree with what he's doing, I'm gonna just sit there stone faced and be like, you heard him. He said what he said. And, yeah.
But
She said,
then
"My
it
man, my man, my
becomes
man."
exactly, but
Yes.
then it becomes so compounded because then we have he said what he said and I have to do that, and then he did not do what I thought he was going to do, on top of me finding out the biggest secret he's been keeping me
yeah.
this entire time.
Mhm.
So that conversation is going to be a big one. And I do hear you like keeping that, but then that conversation is a blow up because yes, we understand he was coerced not to say specific things. Okay, fine. But she came to the understanding, and I don't know all the inner workings where he could say, I can't I don't know fully, and maybe I missed this in reading book 2, whether or not he could talk about his upbringing. We know there were things he could not talk about and things he could talk about, specifically when he was in the labyrinth, right? He could not talk about that whatsoever. But we don't know if he could or could not talk about his parents and whether or not where they were from, who they are. And then we have this big freaking reveal. And you're gonna expect me to be cool with that? You gave me this whole story about your papa and all of the stuff that happened and the shadows and the losing a foot, like a whole freaking sob story at that point. And I'm feeling for Kingfisher. I still feel for him, and I will feel for him more if this is something he could not actually talk about, but he can circumvent this conversation and give as much information as he could. But if this is something he actually explicitly withheld from Saeris because he was under the assumption she doesn't need to know this, and I will keep this from her until it's absolutely necessary, because I feel like that's kind of his MO to this point. I will tell Saeris what's absolutely necessary. I've gotten away with what I can't tell her. She comes to this, then it almost feels weaponized in a sense, but also, whatever. Okay, I won't go too far into it. I just still have huge beef with him talking about his papa and his parental his parental figures and not explaining the information that gets revealed at the end of the book. And then we have, obviously I get it from the POV, us as readers, we're kind of in Saeris's POV. We started that from book 1, so we're going to maintain the entire series rooting for her and siding with her POVs. We only know as much as she does, so I understand that reveal in this way, but I do want to see her feel betrayed, because I was betrayed. You're gonna drop that bomb on me and you never took a chance to enlighten me on this situation when we were talking about papa? Like, hello? Like, that's actually
Take a shot every time Caitlin says papa.
Papa.
yeah, honestly, you're gonna have a very fun night if you do that.
That part.
Make it Casamigos. Not sponsored. Sorry. Okay, so I
My
think
thing is,
Excuse me, princess.
my thing is, right, I hear what you're saying. Would I necessarily classify this as a betrayal? I don't know. He definitely lied.
you're on the record. Let's actually be very careful.
Before you complete that thought, what would you consider a betrayal?
Oh, that's a
Um,
good question.
I would say I consider it a betrayal if he was like married to somebody else, or like he had a secret child or something that nobody knew about. Like, I feel like that would be a betrayal. But like I feel like that his is more of a lie of omission, which in and of itself, I would have cussed him out about that. Like, whereas I would have been
Okay.
quiet the whole time. As soon as he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm here to talk to my dad," I'd be like, "What the actual?" Like, we would have had it out right there, and it would have been embarrassing because we're not looking like a solid front right now. But I'm not feeling like a solid front right now because I feel like you lied to me. So I would be angry. I don't know if I necessarily feel betrayed because like I feel like to be betrayed, I guess technically, because I believed one thing and he told me something, like I believed one thing and it was actually something different.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'd have to have a sense of like, I don't trust you anymore. Like betrayal leads to I don't trust you anymore. I would still trust Kingfisher. I would still trust him with my life. But like, I'd be mad, and I'd be mad for a hot minute, and we'd have to have it out.
So are you saying that in order to be betrayed, like if somebody betrayed you, it would be no coming back from? Like you would never forgive them for it. It'd be something that like I can never forget this. Like if you betrayed me, I don't trust you anymore. There's nothing you can do. That you're at the point of no return.
Yes. And I think that again, it might be the Scorpio in me. I believe in scorched earth. If you have burned me, there's nothing else for us to talk about. I feel as if I held a grudge against my cousin for 16 years because he dumped a juice box on my sister's head when she was 6. So if you betray me, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. There's literally nothing else to talk about after that.
Before we get to T, because she has something she needs to say, that correlation, we're going to be mad at a juice box for 14 years, but we're not going to be mad at it.
I was going to say, she's still mad because the way that came out so fluid, she didn't, there was no hesitation, no stutters. She said that so smooth. She's still mad.
I've since let it go. Am I still mad about it? Yes. But I'm not harboring any. I still feel some type of way because he never apologized, actually. So never mind. Yeah.
We need to start a tally for getting some. And I know for a fact. I'm so sorry, Jude. I know you are seeing.
See, and I'm not surprised that you hold grudges like this. You're so close to being a Libra that I'm like, y'all are like, come on. Libras and Scorpios, y'all hold grudges
2 peas
real bad.
But the line that is drawn is so great. Like, juice box, no. You're going to lie to me about your dad and your whole upbringing and you withhold that from me? You know what?
Yeah.
I'm a ride or die now.
Because it's my man.
Okay.
My man's going to handle it.
Okay. So.
But that was your cousin, right? Wasn't that
right? That was family.
But I only saw him like once every other year or something like that.
Oh, yeah. There's a very instinctive cut, explicit cut, where maybe Kingfisher gets a little bit of leeway because he's throwing that thing around.
A little
Absolutely.
bit.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
You know how to put it down.
Did you read the same scenes that I read? Yes. Make no mistake, I'd be mad, but I'm not withholding anything from him.
You'd be mad, but you're not going to hold a 16-year-long grudge.
Absolutely not.
Because of a spilled juice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over a damn juice box.
Okay, T, what did you want to tell us about?
Going back to the betrayal, I fear that, I agree with you that, she'll be angry at, with him. But hopefully she doesn't do that. But I feel like he has an explanation to why he did it. Because again, after the seal was broken and no one, everything happened, B said he could have told her that after that. But Onyx was hurt. So at that moment, he was not thinking about his dad. He was not thinking about anything. They was taking care of Onyx and he was dying. So I fear that he wanted to tell her at one point. He probably did. But he couldn't because something was holding him back from that information.
The reach.
First of all, I have so many thoughts going on. I'm so sorry, but I'm sick of all the promises. I'm sick of all of the your timeline. To me, it doesn't make sense because I feel like he talked to Saeris about his father when he was talking about how he garnered the power of shadows,
but he couldn't tell about how powerful he was.
He could have hinted.
Maybe.
Why? Maybe if we're leaning towards in the same vein that which honestly, if this was a recycled issue, I'll have an issue with, but overall, great story. But if it's a recycled issue that this is yet another thing he was unable to speak about because of the magic system within that area, whatever. Yes, I understand what you're trying to say, and I'm here for that, except for the timeline doesn't match with the Onyx section. I feel like he explained that before that happened, before she went and literally took a punch to her face to go find him. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, she got physically harmed to be able to be knocked out to go find this man. She, like, at this point, book 2, Saeris is doing a lot for a man that, if we have to look at it on paper, yes, they are godbound. Yes, we love Kingfisher, but on paper, this man is doing everything but a green flag. He is it is a dark fantasy romance.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I mean, if we have to, June.
Okay.
He did go to Zilvarn.
But like, that's bare minimum. That's opening a door, because the only thing this man needed to do was bring back her blood brother and brought back Carrion, which we love. We love. I'm not saying I'm upset with that. I love the fact that Carrion is here. He plays a great integral role into this. But if we write up all of Kingfisher's sins and all of his wrongdoing, they're just red flag after red flag. And that has to go with him being just a morally great MMC. But like, no, like, the fact that y'all are looking at me like this is like, am I looking at things with rose-colored glasses? And I just
maybe we are. You might be the right one here.
You look at things like, okay, this is actually wrong. This is black and white. This is what it is.
Okay, yeah.
And
fair.
We're looking at it like,
blah blah blah.
I see. Like, well, she gonna be upset probably half of the third book, but you know, at the end of the day,
at the end of the day,
and the thing is now as I'm listening to you speak about it, I'm realizing that you're not wrong. Like, he's a walking red flag, and I'm just over here like, how do I justify it?
I will say, and I want to make this super clear. I see Kingfisher. I love Kingfisher. So it's not me being like, I don't know. I think I can separate it in a sense of like, okay, me as a reader, like, this is like in the real world, like, not what I want.
Sure.
But then I'm also reading him and I'm like, oh, I love him so bad because of who he is and how he acts. But then if I take that away, and I guess it just comes to us like unpacking things that he does, I'm like, wait, no, but like, if I guess I'm putting myself into Saeris's POV. Like, if I were her, I would not let. Honestly, actually, I probably would. But my right mind, yeah. No, let's be clear.
He's how tall? He's how big?
And
he's fine. I told y'all where he worked. Now I was able to see how tall. 7 foot. What in person? Crazy.
And the equipment to match.
But yeah, like with Kingfisher specifically in this book, I was able to catch him out because I was feeling, here's actually what I think it was. I think I was feeling so much for Saeris and putting myself in her shoes as I would like y'all, like my best friends. Like, I don't want this for you. Like, girl, like, he's lying to you.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, hit him with your car. Like, what are you doing?
Okay,
but then
Kaitlynd.
at the end of the day,
it makes so much sense. You're right.
I will say, I do still love Kingfisher, and I do but I do love Carrion more, which honestly he does have more wrongs in the sense of being overly sexual, but like
Sure, yeah.
has he fully betrayed me like Kingfisher has? No. So I'm camp Carrion.
Yes.
Anyways, T.
Go back to signs. As a Gemini, I forgive quickly. So, but I won't never forget. Trust and believe. I'll bring it up. Yes, I will never forget. I forgive very easily. But I forgive you, but I'll still remind it, like, yeah, that really hurt me, but like at the time, but like, I'm fine. But like still, like, why did you do that? Like,
I think it's definitely circumstantial. I think
Yeah.
you have to be Kingfisher for you to be forgiven.
Yes.
I
An
forgive pretty
exemplary
quickly.
person.
Just two people that haven't forgiven.
Okay, so oh my gosh, that was so great to just talk about kind of our first impressions, and we need to move on to our next segment, which is it canon? So, June, take it away.
Okay, so for this week's Is It Canon? Our question is it canon, or does the MMC always have to be over 6 feet and crazy powerful? Again, just to remind people of our options, we have it is canon, it's non-canon, or it's soft canon.
Yeah. No, that's a good one because I feel like in a scope, like overall, it's canon because like that's all we see now when it comes to fantasy. Or honestly, it's bleeding into contemporary and dark romance. They're like 6'5" and like they're so tall, and it's that. At least where I live, that's not the average. So it's becoming like an unattainable reach, which, yeah, it's fiction. So we want that. But
Sure.
I want to say, in books, though, I actually want to say non-canon. I would actually love to see more average to short kings. Shout out to my short kings out there. I want to see them kind of... Jude's face!
I didn't realize it.
Look,
Sorry. Look.
She said, "You got that one."
it's all you, baby.
She said that.
Teaser to what June is going to say, but for me specifically, when it comes to books, because honestly, if I'm gonna say I want diverse books, then I do have to include height in that. I am an average person, so maybe I should see more average love interests, whether that's the MMC or the FMC in the book. Whoever the main character is, like they're opposite when it comes to romance books. Maybe they're a little bit more on the average side. Like for me personally, I'm gonna say non-canon because I would like to see a difference. I would say that it has become canon in the sense of what we've widely accepted, but I would like to see us not High School Musical reference, not stick to the status quo. Like I would like to see us like whoa. Yeah, I would like to see us. Yeah, I would like mess. Yeah, I would like to see us mess with the stuff we know. Like just switch it up a little bit. But yeah, to wrap it all up, I talked about this episode 1, and it did have to circumvent the style of like the genre that it was written in. It was a bronco rider or a bull rider, and for that specific sports romance, they do have to be on the shorter side. And while I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, this person isn't freaking 6 feet tall or like higher than that. But then I was also like, Kaitlynd, you live in Texas. Like specific parts of Texas, like notoriously the average male height is a little shorter. I do happen to live in a city where like it's a wide variety, but there are places. And then with rodeo, specifically in the South, and F1 too, those men are short. So I definitely kind of want to see like a little shift to that mold. But June, you are reacting so vividly. Go ahead.
I'm keeping record in my head for when it's my turn.
Oh, okay. So then we'll move on to B and T.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead.
Is this canon for you guys? Is it soft canon or is it non-canon? Is this something that just needs to stayed to the book so we can live our fantasy life.
I think for me, similar to you, I think if I have to look at it from the perspective of how it is currently, it's obviously canon. For some reason, it just works, like these hyperbolic differences. So the male's always 6 feet plus, the FMC is always like 5'3" and under, and he's always super huge and she's always super petite. It's just like the norm, I guess. If I had to say what I would want to see, I'm on the cusp of non-canon and soft canon. I think I'm going to lean into more of it being soft canon if I had to say what I want to appear in books, because there are just some books I consume that I don't want to see the representation. Like I don't care to see a short king, right? Like I don't care. It doesn't fit. Obviously fiction books, romance books are like my form of escapism. So it's like I don't want to see my reality or something that I could attain depicted in the book. I would rather it be something that's unattainable or something that's just like unimaginable, something that I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is completely unrealistic. That way I know it's fiction, right? Like I could just dream of having something so ridiculous, right? But on the other hand, there are some books that I'm just like, I can connect with it so much. Like I want to feel something. I want to feel something real, something relatable. And in those situations, I think I would like to see more representation of like MMCs that are more like real life men, just not the super tall, super in shape, super, I don't know, just overly attractive. Like give me just a normal dude. It's just more relatable. So I'm on the cusp there.
No, soft canon is good, case by case basis. I love that, actually. Sure. I think that's a good representation. T or June? Who wants to go first?
I'll go, because June seems like she's ruined something in her head.
She is putting bullets in the gun right now.
So I'm going to say it's canon. I'm going to say that. I feel like I'm okay with a tall, dark and handsome. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't want to imagine no real man for real. I don't really like these men out here. So I'm gonna give me a tall man, 6'7", 7 foot. It could be blue, alien, it don't matter. Give me a fake man. I don't want these real men. Anyway,
can you tell she just watched the Avatar?
Yeah. We were all just talking about that.
She said, give me Jake Sully.
To be honest, I don't want no realistic nothing. No real situation, nothing. Give me the fake situation. Give me the yearning, because the real men don't really do it out here. Okay? Thank you. That's my take. So.
PSA from T.
She said what she said.
No, I love that.
But in a corner of soft canon, in a corner, it's cute. It's cute. You gotta do a little cute soft canon, a little cute one. You know, I could do a little 6 foot, 6. You know,
but at the end of the day, you are canon. This is canon for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have.
She said no tea, no shade to my short kings.
No tea, no shade to my short kings out there is what T said.
I've dated short kings. Okay. I know.
So, June, what do you have to say to, is it canon? Do MMCs have to be over 6 foot tall and powerful in books?
I feel like, do they have to be? No. But should they be? Absolutely. I feel like, and this is all the shots. This is all the shots to the short, skinny. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I remember, because Kaitlynd told me when she was reading that book about the short bull rider, and because she sent me a voice memo, and I listened to that, and I was just like, I'm stuck on the short part. Like everything she was explaining to me, she was just like, and I told her that I was just like, I don't understand why he has to be short. And she was just like, oh, because he's a bull rider, you know, he has to be able to be light on his feet. But I don't care. I don't like it. I don't like it.
No.
And then the part
June
about
was
the F1 formula drivers, I just feel like Thomas Maxwell Brown was definitely over 6 feet. So
Oh,
I
are we talking about Ride With Me by Simone
Ride With
Sultani?
Me,
Yes.
yeah.
So now we're getting into aura
Is he short?
versus.
No.
He has to be. He
Okay.
has.
No.
Okay, listen.
No. No.
So
No.
this is June's head canon, but
This is my headcanon. Yes. I want him to be tall. I want him to be ripped. And I want him to be powerful. I feel
Okay,
like, because
fair.
in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, let's look at the opposite. And I feel like powerful, like T said, it could be money, it can be like powers, it can be influence. I don't care. I want him to have something that gives me like, oh, that's my man, you know? Because when I think about it, right?
But at the end of the day, does he
No.
have to be tall?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Because if you flip it, if someone said, "Oh, I have a book about a short man that weighs 130 pounds, he's a brokey," and would I want to read that book? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't want to read it. I don't want it anywhere near me. And so I feel like no, I was about to say I feel like certain concessions can be made, but they actually can't.
So
They
it's
actually
canon
can't.
for
Well,
you.
I'm just curious. Can I ask why you wouldn't read it?
Because it's not attractive to me. And I feel like for me to read the book, they have to be attractive. And my personal type, I feel like you have to be at least tall. I feel like you have to be like 6'5", 6'7", like 7 foot. I think the height difference between Xaden and Violet is actually insane. And I feel like
Fair.
that's a bit
Yeah.
overkill. I feel like my perfect range is however tall the FMC is, and this is for me personally as well, however tall the FMC is, if she puts on a pair of 3-inch heels, he needs to be an inch taller than whatever that is.
Okay, fair.
So
No,
if
no,
I'm
no, no, no.
5'8", if I'm 5'8", I put on a pair of 3-inch heels. I wear heels a lot. I can't be wearing heels and then I'm taller than you. I don't like that. So I feel like if I'm 5'8" and I'm 5'11" with heels, he needs to be 6 foot or taller. And I feel like that's a reasonable thing for me to expect. And I don't want to date anybody that weighs less than me. I can't feel like I can throw you around. Like, it's just, that's not attractive to me. That's just not attractive to me. So I don't want to read about it. And so,
No, that's so
yeah,
fair.
is it canon? Yes. And should it remain so? I fully 1000% believe that it should remain canon. Yes.
That's fair. You're definitely allowed to have your preference.
Yeah. So before we get into rebuttals, I know B and I have some things to say based on what the court has ruled. But here's so far the ruling. We have 2 canons, 1 soft canon and 1, for me, non-canon. And that is June canon, T canon, B soft canon, Kaitlynd non-canon. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The majority has it.
Hung jury.
Yeah. Very much so.
Majority
No.
rules.
Okay. Yeah,
Majority rules.
Yeah, majority rules.
Wait.
Unfortunately, that's sad for us. That's sad for V and I.
I was gonna say I'll be non-canon if
You can't do that.
That's so
can't change.
difficult.
fine.
We don't want to do that. So, B, do you want to go first or me?
Yeah, and I don't really have anything to say. I just have questions.
I too have questions and speculation. So go first.
When you consume films, or is this the way that you speak about an MMC and what your preference is when it comes to MMCs? Is it exclusive to literature, or does that bleed into film too?
I feel like it does lead into film as well. I feel like, but I don't know 100% what the heights are for the people. I just feel like if it's a romance and they're the same height, the whole time I'm just like, that man is short. And so like, cause he's short compared to the FMC. I'm just like, I don't like it. But like in the grand scheme of things, like and it's not even necessarily that it has to be 6 foot. Like if the FMC is 5 foot and the guy is like 5'5", he's taller than her. I'm okay with that. Like that in my head, I'm gonna give him extra inches because 5 foot.
In film though.
In film, I feel like it's still the same. Yeah.
Film because you can visually see a height difference, or if it's written he's 5'5" and she's 5 foot. Like if you read a paragraph,
I add inches in books because in movies it's like I can't change what my eyes are seeing, but I can change what I'm seeing in my head.
But
So,
no, hold on. Unfortunately, that debunks everything you just said. But like, okay, go off, queen. Like, because if you can imagine them taller, then just imagine them taller.
No, it doesn't work for the movies because it's constantly in my face.
No, but I'm talking about the books, like the rant you just went on.
Oh, like he doesn't have to be short. Just like you're saying in Ride With Me, like you imagine him being tall.
No, he is tall.
Do that with every book.
So no, June, he's an F1 driver. He like physically there are like.
I just feel like, how are you going to tell me about my husband? My husband is tall.
I only asked the question because I wanted to see if your answers would vary.
No, she's gonna grab the book.
This is my proof, right? Right? Look how he has to lean over.
She could be very well 4'11".
Don't do that.
He's an F1 driver. That's what I'm trying to say. So that.
Don't do that.
Yo, this is.
If the height isn't mentioned, you can kind of create your own height difference. But unfortunately, in the realm of F1, and this is with me with my limited knowledge, they are more so leaning towards the side of average height in the US, which is about 5'8", 5'10", 5'11" for men. But like his height isn't mentioned in Ride With Me, which is why I want to know is that a thing that helps you if their height isn't mentioned? Because the book that I sent a voice message to June about, the height was mentioned. And I was like, this man is fat. He gave his whole classification. He gave his height and his weight and why he was at the gym. He was like 5'7", 5'8", a bull rider.
Not short.
But here's the thing. The subsequent paragraph explained why it worked well for him in it explained why it worked well for him in that sports romance. For bull riders, you need to be swift and agile to be able to conquer the bull when you're riding them. And so if you're of a average stature, I'm going to use the word average here because it technically, I don't know. I honestly, I only know women's average height because I am the average height for women. I don't know men's, but if we think of it in book terms, he is on the shorter side and he gave his weight class and that was on the lighter side, but he goes to the gym. So I would say he probably has lean muscle. He's very active. He's conquering bulls, right? So he has to have some strength to do this. But when I was explaining this gym sequence, because it's while he's running, right, or working out in the gym, and he makes a mental note of how he differs from the other men in the gym, and I was like,
differ in the sense of a height, like he's making himself making it evident that he's shorter than everyone.
Height, and I can't remember word for word, but I feel like that was something along the lines of what I was conveying to June. And I was like, and never in my life have I read a man actually state his height and weight class, and it was not over 6 foot or over 200 pounds. Like, that's different.
Do you think it was written that way? Because I might be way off the mark here. You know how like men, I've learned that shorter men are, I don't want to say obsessed with taller men, but like they're abundantly aware that they're like shorter than other men. So like they're constantly comparing themselves to taller men as far as like height and weight. Was it like in that fashion?
No.
It was just used to bring up the point that he's short.
I know. I think neither. I think it was. I think it was brought up to prove why he was fit to ride a bull, because bull riders and like specific sports that aren't highlighted the most, like basketball. We already know they're like 6-7 foot. They're crazy giants. But then there are sports where it is like better to be on the shorter side, and I think the author was trying to convey that message across, that to be his height and his stature while still working out, still having lean muscle, was fit for his character, which was a bull rider, which unfortunately I am from the South, but I have no full knowledge of bull riding as the sport, but I learned a lot from that book. But I do think that does come to play in the same vein as F1 and like certain sports. You have to, like gymnasts, okay? Gymnasts are like female gymnasts are short. They're strong.
Yeah.
They
They
look
are.
great. They're strong, but they like I'm average, but I'm too tall to be a gymnast. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure, yeah.
like it's highlighting the male perspective of that. There are certain sports where being of a certain stature is
An advantage.
prime. It's an advantage for that sport. So like that's why I say it's non-canon, because like there are like spaces for these. Unfortunately, I don't want short king to come across as condescending or like a bad thing, but there's a space for our short kings, and I would love to see that more, and I would love to see that more outside of where it is an advantage, like we would see on the female perspective for like gymnasts in that sense. But T, did you have more to say on that?
Actually, for me, yeah, I'd say fictional men need to be tall. I said, and yeah, period. But with your character, yeah, that makes sense. I would read that. Like, I wouldn't be not like absolutely not. I'm not reading that.
But he wouldn't be a book boyfriend for you.
Absolutely.
It depends on his characteristics too.
Oh, it sounds like you're backtracking a little bit here.
No, but let me keep talking.
I fear you found a little like wiggle room. I feel like she
Not
might be
me
teetering a
playing
little bit.
devil's advocate. That's crazy.
So because for me, I prefer my FMCs tall. Like, I love a tall FMC. Mind you, Saeris is like 5'8", you know?
Taller than me.
And yeah. And I'm 5'4". I'm thinking, yeah, I'm 5'8" too, girl. Yeah, me too, clock it. We the same height. No, we're not. But I don't know. I'm sick and tired of short FMCs, but I really love a tall FMC. I love it. I don't know why. I just
that's a good segue.
No. I was going to say that, and I'm prefacing this by saying I absolutely know for a fact that it is a double standard. I don't care how tall the FMC is. She can be 4'5", she can be 5'5", she can be 5'10", she can be 6 foot. I don't care. As long as the MMC is taller than her, that's okay. And I feel like, right, I'm hearing what you're saying about the bull rider. I hear the logic. I understand the logic. I get that he needs to be smaller, shorter, lighter. I get the same argument for the F1 Formula 1 drivers. However, I still don't care. I feel like this is it's a fictional book. If you can write it so that it's okay for this man to be 6'3" and riding in a car. Like, you can, maybe he's a little bit slower because he has more muscle mass. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. But for you to be like, oh yeah, he's like 5'3", man, he's the fastest, he's the best in his field. I don't care. I don't want it. And I feel like off of T's point, the only thing that I can make a concession about is he can be like medium ugly. If he has a great personality, he can be like medium ugly.
What?
I would like to say one final thing before we wrap this up. That I hear you. But I think the reason that I feel like it is necessary to, I guess, showcase men or MMCs that are short is because I think like representation overall, like it just matters regardless.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it does matter because like
you.
people do want to see themselves represented and desired and seen in them, like especially MMCs and FMCs too. Like they want to see themselves in a space where they are the main male character and the FMC desires somebody regardless of his height. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
I get it from a point of view of like that's just not what I'm into, or like if I'm reading a fiction book, I want to read about a man that's like so much taller than me that I have to like literally crane my neck back to look at him. But I think it's important to represent people from all different walks of life just for the sole purpose of representation and also to show that like those people are desired too.
I would agree with that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a book. Like if they
We're
want to
talking
write
personal-
it, like you can write the book. I'm just saying, would I read it
Yeah,
and
I feel
still
that.
imagine the same person that the author wrote? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I feel like
that.
you could. Yeah, it should. I believe in diversity in the book, so that you can write
Sure.
it. I'm just gonna change it in my head.
Yeah, I mean, like,
No, I
because when
love
you pick up a book, what's the
Because-
first thing that we look at? Like, you read the synopsis and it's like 7-foot fey male. I'm picking that
I
up. But
feel
if
like
I
that's
see
too
the
tall.
description and it's like average height man, I'm gonna slide that back on the shelf. Like, I'm not. Like, it just depends on what I want to read.
I think we are all getting to some great conversations, and I do want to highlight like June 100%. Like she, if the height isn't mentioned, Thomas Maxwell Brown, which to me is a short king because of
He's
his
6'3".
sport. Right. To June he's 6'3" because the height
she
wasn't
stands by
mentioned.
that.
So it just comes to the reader's perspective, and you're positioning yourself as the love interest, and that brings June is showing the cover of Ride With Me.
I'm about
recently
to read the whole thing again because I'm pretty sure they did say Stella's height, and he's taller than her. I think.
maybe I will take the blame for thinking Thomas Maxwell Brown is not 6'3" and driving an F1.
No, I mean, the logic makes sense. It makes sense that he would be short. It's just he's not.
I love that.
She said, yeah, in real life, maybe. In the book, no.
Every
will-
man.
I will
is tall.
caveat this. At the end of the day, all of us are such like accepting people. Like I know these girls like at their hearts and their core, and all of us, we're just so accepting. And yes, we have our preferences and we are going to speak towards those preferences, but that's not to say that anything is wrong, because we do want to welcome space for same-sex romances, because like MM or FF romances, like they're going to be like there's height differences when it comes to that. We are speaking specifically when it comes to Brimstone, which is an FM romance. So I do want to make that simple, quick caveat before we continue on with the next section. And I know we all agree with that, but I just wanted to say that court adjourned. Yes, it ruled canon, unfortunately, right?
Fortunately.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately is the correct term.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we are moving into unpacking characters. We want to talk through the characters that were prevalent in Brimstone. I'm so excited to hear what characters are going to be featured today. So, June, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the three I felt were the most prevalent was Saeris, Kingfisher, and Carrion. I will start with Saeris. I feel like Saeris in this book, she was in her bag. I feel like she owned her being queen. She owned her new powers. Like, granted, there was a little bit of a learning curve with said powers, but I just feel like her ruling over the blood court and her, I forget what her name is, but the annoying one that Tal really liked. I feel like that scene where she put her on her knees and put her feet up on her back, I was just like, Saeris, like you do
Clock
your
it.
big one. You do your big one with that. I loved it.
She ate.
And so like I with the exception of her talking at the end of the book when she shouldn't have been talking, I feel like Saeris, I really liked her. She was actually my favorite in this book specifically. That being said, Kingfisher. I know we all love Kingfisher, and I know that I would forgive Kingfisher for his transgression at the end. That being said, I feel like he took a very big back seat in this book. I feel like
Interesting.
Kingfisher's role in this book was more so, I guess, kind of quasi supportive, but I feel like his main focus was on Saeris and getting her undressed. I feel, and I can't really
never
blame
lied.
her, but I can't blame him for that. And I wouldn't be mad if I was Saeris. But I feel like seeing how big of a role he played in Quicksilver versus how he kind of took a step back in book 2, I was a tad bit disappointed in that. I wanted more of a like large and in charge, like maybe seeing him fighting more, like sword work, something like that. And I feel like I would have enjoyed that, as opposed to, I feel like he was more reactionary than proactive here.
That's no, I like that. I think I saw it was either a Book Talker's full post or it was in the comments of something talking about Brimstone book 2, but they were saying that they thought that Kingfisher, his character, made a complete 180 in book 2. Like, it was not the same as book 1. There was some dissonance there, in the sense that he wasn't as quippy, or like the banter wasn't as harsh in a sense that it was in book 1. And I wonder if we're conflating or like confusing character growth with character consistency.
I feel like I don't necessarily think that his character needed to grow per se.
Right.
I feel like he was introduced how he was introduced. Like, I've again, the group chat was called Feral Fisher for a reason. But I feel like with
Yeah.
with the
Shout
second
out.
yeah, with the
Shout out to
second
the second
book,
name.
with the second book, I just feel like, again, I did like the fact that Fisher was sarcastic. I did like the fact that Fisher was like top 10 banter. I do like the fact that Fisher was like confident, arrogant, like I can handle mine. And I feel like the only time we really got a glimpse of book 1 Fisher was at the end, when again they were hanging upside down in the hell dimension. I feel like that was really the only time that we saw book 1 Fisher, and I would have liked to have more of that, especially because he doesn't like the blood court and he was there for like half the book. I feel like if he had been more quippy and whatnot, I would have personally liked that more.
So then just like piggybacking off of that, like for Kingfisher, do you think that his portrayal of his character in book 2 was a contrast to book 1? Like, in the sense, do you think he just took a backstage, or do you think he switched on us in book 2? Because that's what I was reading in like some of the comments, and I have my own thoughts and I can share them too, but that's what I was reading. Some people's reaction to book 2, they were like, this is not my Kingfisher. Do you think that he took a backstage in the sense that his character was diminished and that's not his character anymore? Or has his character maintained the same and just took a backstage? So it's the difference between backstage or diminish and changed entirely.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I don't think that it's necessarily his character changed. I think because of Saris's character changing, and I think that because of her taking on the role of being the queen of the blood court, I feel like he took a back seat in the sense that he wanted to be more supportive of her and trying to help her navigate being a half fae, half vampire, being a queen of a court that she didn't really know anything about. interacting with all these people that he's met a couple of them before, and so I feel like he kind of took a back seat to let her, I guess, figure things out and more so shine like she did in the book. I don't think that necessarily means that Fisher, like, that's his personality now. I think he understands what his mate needed in that weird transition space.
Mm-hmm.
And so he became what she needed to support her. I think in book 3 we'll get more of an equal balance between old Fisher and new Fisher, because Fisher was still I won't say talking crazy. He was still doing his thing with people outside of Saeris. I still feel like he was running his mouth a bit, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we can see him being soft, because I feel like that is character development. Fisher's not a soft person from book 1.
Yeah.
And it took a lot for him to get to the part where he was open and understanding and caring with Saeris. So I feel like if we get that in book 3, where he's soft, open, loving, lovey-dovey golden retriever energy with Saeris, but then everybody else he's black cat, stay away from my mate type of thing, except for his inner circle, of course. I feel like that's what I think going into book 3 is gonna happen, because I don't think that Fisher necessarily changed.
Me either. I don't see him changing before yeah, I don't see him changing at all. Like, I feel that he maintained his prickliness, his quip, his wit, his like sharp like interjections. 90, like, not even 90%, that's an exaggeration, but like a good percentage of the book he was not with Saeris, whereas with book 1 he was. So he didn't have that same type of banter that we could see. So we're seeing him trying to interact with a male that he like notoriously does not like, right? So in this book we know they're godbound mates. So it's like I would want to see him change a little bit towards Saeris and like kind of become more softer towards her, right? And then also maintain that same air, which I think he did maintain when it came to the males in the vicinity. And even Danya, who is a female in this world, he was still pretty like abrupt towards her. Abrasive is the right term. Yeah. He was pretty abrasive towards her. So I don't think he like truly changed. I think people were missing that oddity of a enemies to lovers banter that we got in book 1, but now they're lovers and they're finding that shift to be a little difficult to digest. That's my personal opinion. I didn't think he shifted that much. I think he grew, and it's just a hard change. And that's something we'll talk about, because this book came with a lot of hard changes, but that's my view on kind of the character. And then with Saeris, we talked about this last episode. I definitely want to see her continue on her like, I'm that girl, like, this is my stance I'm going to take. But now that I keep thinking about it, I do feel like with Kingfisher, she can take that backseat, that soft girl era, and like be like, okay, everything is fine now, so I don't have to worry too much about it, except for what I have to worry about, which they communicate very well together. They have great communication. I will commend Callie Hart on that. They have great communication. Hold on. Yeah, you're looking at me,
I
and
have great communication, and he didn't tell her that he was half god. That's
I will say, when it comes to their relationship dynamic, not when it comes to past behaviors, which I do wish Kingfisher would have relayed that in a better way than how it came across. But when it comes to him, here's what I mean by that. When it comes to him taking a back seat and allowing Saeris to come into her own and do what she needs to do in a space that's unfamiliar to her, that is something that's not much seen in our society, like in reality,
Yeah.
right? Like
Mhm.
sometimes men get intimidated by that, but we did not
Sad.
see Kingfisher become intimidated by Saeris' succession to power. However, that's the extent, and I will preface that with a pinpoint. That's the extent of the communication being going well. I meant in the extent of him allowing or seeing her and allowing her to be herself. However, on his side, I do maintain that Kingfisher should have divulged more information than he did. But again, we have more books in the series, so maybe he is bound to not say certain things. We don't know. This is something we gathered from book one. There are certain things he's not able to say. I'd hate for that to be repeated because for me personally, I would just view that as, I hate the word,
Cop out.
yeah, lazy cop out, like writing wise, but I hate using that because I love Callie Hart. So I honestly don't think that is what's going to happen. If it does, then that's just going to be my belief, but overall I do like the series. I do love Callie Hart, but that's how I will view that writing style. If that's what happens, if it gets repeated again, this is just something he was bound not to be able to say. I would love to see this come out to play, that he could have told Saeris the truth, but he chose not to, because that would be an added dynamic to their lair. Because that was something I picked up on it being betrayal. We didn't necessarily agree on it. That's what I'm saying. We didn't really agree on it being a betrayal. So that's why you called me out, because that was my thought process. But if we're reading this as a whole and no one's seeing it as a betrayal, then yeah, they have great communication. They have a lovely relationship. He lets her shine, she lets him shine, and it's very symbiotic. It's very reciprocal. But for me personally, while reading, I was able to take out parts where I thought there were some power dynamics or certain things that just I didn't vibe with. But that's it. I spoke a lot. But B&T, what were y'all thoughts on the characters in this second book?
Yeah, I think you guys spoke a great deal on Kingfisher and Saeris, so there really isn't much left for us to really speak on in that regard. I did want to touch on what June said about how it felt like Kingfisher took a back seat in this book, which is very true. But in some odd way, I feel like this is Fisher's story, but I also feel like this wasn't his story. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone else took, where somebody else was steering the car. It was a lot about Saeris, and this is why I kind of want to segue into who really kind of was the spotlight for me in this book, and that was Foley, Lorith, and Taladius. Those are my big three.
Gosh.
And I just want to lean into the loyalty aspect, right? They really took the cake for me. I make no mistake, Carrion was a big highlight for me.
Okay.
But
Thank
it was
you.
really nice. It was really, really nice getting to learn about Foley, Lorith, and Taladius, because I feel like last book, especially, Lorith had such a big part in that book to me. Especially when, the whole scene with the Vizient. I just felt like there was so much that we didn't know about him, and I got to learn a lot about his character and his personality this book, and I was super excited to really dive into kind of where his loyalty to Fisher really stemmed from, and how he just has this crazy respect for him, but you also really learn he's so intelligent. And he's got
Yeah.
amazing foresight. I really enjoyed Lorith. Taladius, again, all three of them are the holy trinity of loyalty. Those are some loyal males. And then Foley, him never really parting with the wolf in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Such a loyal boy. Love him so bad. But those are my big three. But as far as the dynamic of Fisher and Saeris, and Fisher kind of letting Saeris really move through, her reign and figuring herself out and how she wants to navigate, and I also think a lot of the circumstance with the book that Fisher's mom basically guiding Saeris through the whole alchemy bit. I think Fisher kind of took a backseat to that as well, because it was like he could only be so involved based off of what his mom said. Hey, Fisher, shut up and sit back. Like, so I feel like he kind of just fell back anyway. And even through the journey through Sylvarin with Carrion, I feel like again, it wasn't Fisher's story. I feel like it was a lot about Carrion in those moments. Even though we got those bits and pieces of like growth with Fisher, I think this is, once again, like setting the stage for book 3, where we're going to see the original Fisher. Actually, we might even see a different variation of Fisher, because we've learned something so critical at the end that we may not ever see the Fisher that we were used to. We're actually going to see Kaden. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get a different version of this character. I'm so excited for book 3. So excited.
I'm so excited.
I agree.
T, what do you have to say?
Well, obviously, I was thinking definitely Lorth and Taladaeus. And when you said Foley, I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah. I felt like they played a critical part in loyalty in the book. And getting to know characters, I was like, man, I want to know more about these characters. I love how Callie highlights some of these characters, and we start to love not just Fisher and Saeris, but we love all the characters and their relationship and how they're growing, and it's just amazing. Even what's her name?
Who, Danya?
Danya. In a way, it's like enemies to our friendship, because even though she didn't like Saeris, I can see the shift in their relationship, and that's growing as well. So
you don't think so? I think they're like frenemies.
Yeah. So I can't wait for the 3rd book, because obviously there's going to be a different version of Fisher that we haven't seen, or Kaden.
100%. I was just gonna say, in the audiobook, it's Kaiden.
Kaiden. Yeah, Kaiden, I realized after I said it.
Kaiden. You're right. Absolutely. Kaiden.
But it's totally fine. Kaiden. And that could be highlighting difference in listening and reading.
But I'm really excited for this next book, and how the characters are, how really Saeris is going to react. That's what I really want to expect. That's what I really expect, her reaction. And I do want that moment, emotional, like push and pull. And I just expecting that. And then obviously Carrion's power and knowing more about his character, which I wish it would have been in this book a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then Taladaeus and Lorth, I need more of him too. And Foley and that new character too. So yeah.
No, I love that. Did you have something else to say, June?
Yeah, I just realized I didn't share my thoughts on Carrion, because I feel like we talked about everybody but Carrion. For this book, first and foremost, I love Carrion. I've loved Carrion since he first came on the scene in book 1. I like he's that guy. I love him. I do feel like in this book he was underutilized. Like I feel like I expected more from Carrion in this book, but I feel like Carrion was also the answer to a lot of questions. He brought a lot of knowledge. He brought a lot of solutions. He brought a lot of like research. Like Carrion actually knows a lot. And I feel like that was kind of brushed to the side, and like he wasn't given, I feel like, the time and attention that I feel like he deserved. And I feel like I do like the little side quest between Carrion and Kingfisher. I definitely did think that was going to take up more of the book than it actually did.
Yeah.
And I was a tad bit disappointed in that.
Yeah.
I think it took an appropriate amount. Like, I know everyone was relating it to Shrek and Donkey, like them going on their little boys
That's hilarious.
trip
I did not hear
on
that.
book.
That's so funny.
You never saw any of them?
I didn't hear that
Oh,
one.
I did
my
not.
goodness.
That's so funny.
I saw a couple memes of like Shrek and Donkey. Obviously, Shrek is Kingfisher and Donkey is
Mhm.
Carrion.
It's
But I saw a
Carrion,
couple memes where they're like anticipating book 2, and they're like, "This is gonna be Kingfisher and Carrion book 2," and it's like Shrek and Donkey. But I think it was an appropriate amount of time for their boys trip. If it were any longer, we would have had more dream sequences. It just would have been drawn out. I don't
Sure.
think
Yeah.
their stint could have been any longer without frustrating readers. Would it have been good for a book and for a storyline to like advance more of the plot? But I feel like they did what they needed to do. They had very big scenes in their adventures in Zolvarin, and I don't know, like if it had been drawn out, I think I would have been like, but like bring everyone back, please.
Yeah.
Please bring everyone back. I get what you're saying, innocent. Yeah, like I'm with you, Tia. Like I think it was an appropriate amount of time being away, but then we also, I think and like correct me if I'm wrong. I think what makes it feel shorter is because of that little dream sequence where we could see the bonded being able to interact physically in the dreams once Saeris finds out she's been lacking sleep and that she can go to sleep, and the first time she goes to sleep she's able to physically meet with Kingfisher. I think that's kind of what could cut what feels like that whole sequence, because we did have the dream scenes. But like if we're like thinking of it as a timeline, it's very long. I was like, guys, hey, let's wrap it up, please. I don't the scorpion like everything's too much. Like come back.
Yeah.
Come back. But then if I think about it, like as a whole, like they're not missing each other in a sense. So like you kind of feel like you're robbed of that entire experience. So I'm with you in the sense that you think it's short, but that might be because half of their time apart was spent together in the dream space.
I feel like I feel like the time in Zolvarin is a fine like length of time. I feel like where I feel that it wasn't enough is, again, I feel like Carrion was not utilized enough. Like Zolvarin is Carrion's domain. He's been there for 1,000+ years. He's a smuggler. He knows everything about everybody. Like I feel like he wasn't utilized enough. And maybe if they had done a better job of including Carrion or like showcasing Carrion's knowledge, or like how him being a smuggler is helpful to them trying to get the silk, like just utilized him better, I feel like I would have been more content with that period of time.
I think that's what makes his statement so powerful when he's like, if you're going to treat me like the Joker, I'm going to act like a Joker, like a gesture. That's what I mean by Joker, when he's like saying something to that effect. If you're going to belittle me so much, I'll act belittled. But if you start prioritizing me, and that's him speaking to Kingfisher when he actually shows like his skill, and Kingfisher's like, you knew how to do this whole time, and he's like, well, yeah, I told you I lived here for this amount of time. Like, had you not treated me like a fool, I would not have acted like a fool. And I think that was the setup for that line, honestly, June. Like, I understand the frustration, but I also see Callie Hart's effort to build up to Kingfisher, not Kingfisher. Whoa. I
Carrion.
also see Callie Hart's setup to Carrion's arc to be able to deliver that line, because I think Callie is also tired of seeing some of these side characters being cast as the class clown, no good for nothing. You're just here for comedic relief. And she wants to do something with Carrion, which we divulged in your pleading of the case last episode. So, yes, it was short. And yes, like, Carrion wasn't utilized, but I think it built up to him delivering that line that made me tear up it made me tear up when I heard him say that, because like I felt for him, and because I saw him, like I saw his efforts to be heard, and sometimes he confuses being heard with being funny. So he's trying to be funny throughout book 1, and a lot of times in book 2, he's this over the top, like need to be heard character, and he knows, not even character, but caricature. Like, and he knows that, so he plays towards that. And this time he gets to be taken on this quest, and he's like, yes, I finally get taken on this quest, but then it's with Kingfisher, and he already knows he's going to be taking a back seat, so he's like, okay. And then once he finally realizes that Kingfisher isn't going to actually listen to him, when Kingfisher is the one that brought him, thinking he was Hayden, back to the Fae realm, right? So Kingfisher knows that Carrion is a citizen and has been here for years, and still was like, you're going to listen to me, you're going to do what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. And Carrion's like, okay, fine. And I resonate with him, because sometimes if someone's so set in their ways and they think they're so right and they're so smart in an area that I think I like know about, go ahead. I will let you do that, because you don't, like, even if I were to speak up and tell you, you're not going to listen. And I think Carrion was so true to that character, and I love him for that. I think that's why I resonate with him so much and love him so much, because he understands people, and he understands how people perceive him. And it sucks and it's sad, because then he understands that people think so little of him, but he's going to let them think that, knowing that he can provide answers. Because when he quips up and it's the right answer, and they're like, how did you know that? And he's like, well, you never asked. I just love that. I love that about Carrion. I love that so much. I love him.
I definitely think also, like, I 110% agree, because Fisher never gave Carrion... I feel like Fisher never gave Carrion a fair chance from day one, right? Because he knew immediately, like, this was somebody that Saeris was deeply
Smelled
involved
like
with.
her,
So there was always of a sense of jealousy. So he never really cared for Carrion anyway. And
he couldn't
so
see
he's always
past
kind of
it.
looked down on him. Always kind of looked down on him. So, like, even like when you read it from Fisher's point of view, and like during their trek through Zilvaran, like, he's so dismissive of Carrion, even in his head, not even just like verbally when he speaks to Carrion, even in his head, he's just like, he'll look at Carrion, and Carrion's like looking or he's got the stupid smirk on his face. He's always like associating his way of describing Carrion is like dim, dull, stupid, whatever. Like, he's giving him the worst words to connect him to, which
very
Carrion is the complete
dismissive.
opposite of that. Fisher doesn't know how much he needs Carrion, and like, I hate that. I hate that because he never gave Carrion a chance. Not to say that Carrion made it any better for him, because he's always been like this super like unserious
but what's
kind of
that
person.
learned behavior? What's that learned behavior? He's been like, okay, spoiler, like, he's been there for years. Like, he's learned humans, he's learned their mechanisms, and he never knew truly what lineage he came from. So like, he's just
he's kind of always been by himself in some way, shape, or form, even with the people that he's had, which has been very few and far in between, right? Which is something that I wanted to bring up, because like, I was kind of just listening to you guys, and about how like Carrion's involvement was very minimal in this book, and that was something that truly disappointed me when reading this, was that the synopsis is like, it made it seem like Carrion was going to be this huge pivotal piece, right? And you had mentioned this before, Kaitlynd, like, Carrion wasn't really involved except for the part where he answers everything, right? Like, he figures it all out as far as like where these feeders are coming from, right? Which again, I thought Carrion was going to have like a bigger involvement in the book. And during their trek in Zilvaran, and the whole situation where he loses that one person that he had left, and I feel like we just kind of brushed over that.
Glossed over it.
I feel like we did not spend enough time watching him grieve, watching him go through it. And then the one person that gave him support was the one person that has given him nothing but the entire 2 books.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. He deserves better.
No, I 100% agree, but I also feel like that was, in a sense, it like a necessary evil. Like,
I get
to bring forth his character. I hate it because
Sure.
you're shaking your head, June. Like, I agree with you. I hate it. That's why it said evil, but it's necessary in the sense for us to feel. But I also think that we can look at Brimstone, especially how I brought it up. He was portrayed as only useful when he had these like spotlight moments.
Sure.
I'm looking at it as glass half full, not half empty. It's not his fault. It was everyone else not choosing to see him seriously, and he's feeding into that. Like I was saying before, like, you're not going to take me seriously, so then I'm going to shut my mouth. Like, I'm not going to tell you this mountain of gold I'm sitting on if I already don't feel welcomed. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, you already have treated me this way. You've done this. I've been treated this. He made himself notorious. And by that point, he's been there for years and years and years in Zilvarin. So he's accustomed to the human ways. But then he gets transferred back to what's supposed to be his home country. And we gave it such a blip of moment when Kingfisher recognizes that Carrion is an artist and draws and has drawn his family history from memory because he could not remember. He's basically an orphan. He's little orphan Annie in the sense. Like, he has
He just wants to be loved.
There's so much heartache. There's so much going on with him. So, like, I'm with him. Like, I understand that he's supposed to be. I see him being pivotal. I see how pivotal he is because I can put myself in his shoes and be like, you're not listening to me. I've given you gold, and the gold he gave pushed the narrative of this story forward, in my opinion. He answered a lot of questions that needed to be answered. So I do think he actually played a great role, but I also feel like because of how everyone has viewed him and how readers will see him on the pages, they're like, oh, he didn't play that big of a role. And that's not to say y'all didn't see that or anything like that, but that's just like, I feel like he has this a gravity that is not felt on Earth. If you go in space, it's floating, but on Earth, it's sinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is me not knowing about space, so, like, please don't.
I was like, I don't know what. I don't know what that means.
I'm gonna.
Sure.
So, like, I do think that, like, and I agree. I think we all know how important and pivotal Carrion is. And, like, I don't want to, like, dismiss that at all. Like,
I'm not denoting that at all.
Like you said, maybe that's the way that Callie wanted it portrayed. She wanted us to see that, like, these people are not going to give him the space. And we know he deserves that. But we're just, like, frustrated because we're like, we expected Carrion to have that, and he didn't get it. Like,
that's on not spoon feeding a reader. I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, guys, we have talked way too much today on this episode, so we are actually going to divide it into 2 parts. I can't wait to hear what we're going to talk about. But T, what can we expect from the next episode?
So we're going to start with food for thought, June's beef list. So I'm excited about that because I'm really curious and to unpack who she had beef with. So get ready to dress up, June, because I'm ready for what you got to say.
Period.
B, what else can we expect from the next episode?
Yeah, you can expect us to really go ahead and just jump into our rating system, find out what we truly felt about the book, and what we rated Brimstone from, let's just assume, 1 to 5.
And Kaitlyn's 1 to 4.
And Kaitlyn's 1 to 3.75.
Right?
Okay, everyone. This has reminded me I haven't shared my rating scale or rating system with the group chat.
You
I'm
need
gonna
to share it with me because you still haven't shared it.
I'm sending it right now. Okay, I took screenshots, so it's coming to the group chat.
Just pin the video
now.
to your TikTok.
I know, but I also fear I need to make a brand new one. But yeah, I'm gonna pin the video on my TikTok, but I'm also gonna share it with the girls in the group chat for my rating system, so everyone knows why I rated it, what I rated it. But just know it was a high rating. Okay.
I said 1 to 5. She said, "Oh,
no." My rating for next week is actually going to shock a lot of people, but let's go on to what else we can expect.
I'm so curious."
You'll have to tune in. What are we going to feature next week?
Yes, so next week we will be playing a fun new game called Bind, Bed, or Bury, where we'll take characters from the book and we will determine their fates.
I love that. It's going to be so much. It's going to be so much fun. It's our own version. We'll explain a little bit more next episode. But then we will come back to our tried and true segment, which is Bark or Bite. We're going to bring a character to the forefront and we will determine whether or not we would bark or bite for them. So before we finish this episode, we definitely want to hear from all of you, our listeners, our watchers of the podcast. We are new to this, but we want to make sure this is a fun family. So we definitely want to hear what you would like to see, what take you want us to put on trial for, like it's canon, or a character you want us to bark or bite for. So definitely let us know in the comments, in our DMs. We are available on social media. We have a TikTok at It's Canon Pod. We also are available on Instagram and everywhere you can stream a podcast. And then lastly, I want to kick it to B for our true closing remarks. Let us know. Tell us to read.
As always, besties, thank you for tuning in. It's been a fun time. Now it's time for you to do what you're supposed to be doing, which is reading your book like a good girl.
Every single time I kind of squeal a little bit, like my heart seizes and I just don't know what to do with myself. But that's all for now. We love every single one of you. We can't wait for you to tune into next episode where we get further into Brimstone and the Fae and Alchemy series. And that's canon.